Chapter 3. Their Worlds. It wasn't long before their friendship took root in routine. On weekdays, Iman would come in just after lunch, editing photos and tweaking campaigns, while Amara helped close up after school. On weekends, they'd sit in the back room, drinking leftover iced lattes and talking about everything, from the best TikTok editing tools to the meaning of financial freedom. One Saturday afternoon, as a storm rumbled softly outside, Amara sat cross-legged on a stool, sipping hot chocolate. "Can I ask you something personal?" she said. Iman looked up from his laptop. "Sure. Why didn't you finish school?" He hesitated, then shrugged. "I guess it just didn't make sense anymore. I was making money, real money, more than my teachers, honestly. My mom was struggling, and I felt like I could actually do something about it." Amara nodded slowly. "That makes sense. You're brave." He gave a small laugh. "I just didn't want to stay poor forever." She studied him. "You won't. You're already building something incredible." "What about you?" he asked. "What keeps you going?" She looked out the window, watching the rain. "My dad died 5 years ago. After that, things shifted. My mom works a lot. I help out where I can. But I want more, not just for me, but for my little brother. He deserves better, and so do we." Iman didn't say anything for a while. Then, "You will. I know you will." Their eyes met, and something passed between them, an unspoken understanding. Two kids from hard places dreaming hard dreams. Chapter 4. The First Celebration. Weeks passed, and their friendship deepened. Iman started scheduling his photo shoots around Amara's shifts. She'd always bring him a drink. "Your usual," she'd say with a smile, even though he didn't have one. He started bringing her homemade snacks, banana bread from his mom once. One Friday, the cafe owner approached them with a grin. "Amara just got her final grades, straight A's. She's graduating top of her class." Amara turned pink. "It's not a big deal." But Iman stood up, his eyes wide. "Are you serious? That's amazing." He insisted on buying cupcakes for the whole staff that weekend. On Sunday, they stayed after hours. He had a little speaker with him, playing soft jazz, and they sat by the window in the empty cafe, eating and laughing. "You didn't have to do all this," she said. "I wanted to," he replied.
"You deserve to be celebrated." She smiled, biting into a cupcake. "So do you." He looked at her cheeks still dusted with sugar, her eyes bright despite the long day. "I think this place is lucky to have you." She glanced at him, her voice softer. "I think I'm lucky to have you, too."
Chapter 5. A Glimpse into Her World. Sunday morning, Iman arrived at the cafe early with his camera gear, but his thoughts weren't on the photo shoot. He had grown used to seeing Amara every weekend, hearing her voice as she rattled off drink orders or teased him when he got too quiet. Today, she wasn't in her usual uniform. She walked in wearing a navy blue hoodie and a pleated skirt, schoolbooks clutched to her chest. Her hair was tied up, her expression tired but focused. "You have tutoring today?" he asked, watching her settle behind the counter. She nodded, stifling a yawn. "Every Sunday, I help my neighbor's kid with English. Then I tutor math online for some extra cash." Iman blinked. "You're kind of intense." She snorted. "Says the 17-year-old CEO. He grinned. "Fair?" As the day wound down, she sat next to him, reviewing notes. Her fingers were ink-stained, her backpack was covered in pins, and she looked up at him like she didn't realize how impressive she really was. "My brother has a school trip coming up," she said suddenly. "I want to surprise him by paying for it. That's why I've been doing more hours." Iman nodded slowly. "You work hard for your family." "I have to. We've been through a lot. It's just us and Mom now. She does her best, but—" Amara trailed off. Iman didn't speak. He just passed her one of his homemade granola bars. "You're allowed to lean on someone too, you know," he said softly. Amara blinked, then looked down at the snack. "Thanks." Chapter 6. Graduation Day. 2 weeks later, the cafe buzzed with chatter. Flowers, balloons, and confetti made the normally sleepy space feel like a celebration hall. Amara had finished high school. Iman showed up unannounced, a small bouquet in hand and his shirt slightly wrinkled from rushing. "You came," Amara said, stunned as she saw him through the crowd. "Of course I did," he said, adjusting the collar of his shirt. "I told you I'd celebrate you properly, remember?" She stared at him for a moment, her eyes glistening. "You remembered?" He handed her the flowers awkwardly. "They're not as pretty as you, but—" Her face turned bright red, and she punched his shoulder playfully. "Shut up, Iman." They ended up sitting outside on the curb, away from the noise. "Next stop, college," she said, leaning back with a smile. "If I get in—" "You will," he said confidently. "What if I don't?" "Then we'll build something better," he said. "Together, maybe." Amara turned her head slowly. "Together?" He shrugged. "I mean, you always say I inspire you, but you inspire me too, you know." She smiled, quiet, unsure, but it lingered. Chapter 7. Growing Pains. Over the next year, their paths began to drift slightly. Amara juggled her college entrance exams, part-time shifts, and tutoring. Iman was traveling more, expanding his business, speaking at conferences, meeting investors. Sometimes, weeks passed without them seeing each other, but he always texted. "Iman, got your acceptance letter yet?" "Amara, manifesting it, flow or walk." "Amara, how was London?" "Iman, cold, missed your bad jokes though." Still, the distance hurt in ways they never said aloud. One rainy evening, Amara returned to the cafe after a long day. She was drenched, tired, and irritated. And there he was, waiting with an umbrella and 2 bubble teas. "What are you doing here?" she asked, surprised. "You texted, 'I want to disappear,' and then ghosted me for 2 days." Amara blinked. "So you flew back from Cape Town." He handed her a drink. "You matter, Amara." And just like that, she broke into tears. Quiet, tired tears. Iman didn't say anything. He just sat beside her, their shoulders touching, both of them looking at the storm through the window. Chapter 8. The Goodbye, for now. The day she left for college was bittersweet. She was going to another city, just 2 hours away, but still too far to pop in for a weekend shift. Her bag was packed, her mom teary-eyed, and her little brother clinging to her. Iman arrived just as they were loading the car. He looked taller, more polished, broad shoulders, nice coat, still the same soft eyes. "I came to say goodbye," he said, shifting awkwardly. "I thought you hated goodbyes." "I do," he said, "but I hate regrets more." She walked up to him and hugged him tightly. "You'll visit?" He nodded. "Only if you let me brag about my best friend being a genius." She laughed against his chest. When they pulled apart, he held out a small notebook. "It's empty. I want you to fill it with ideas, dreams, plans, and when you're ready, let's build something. For real. She clutched the book to her chest. Deal. And as the car pulled away, Iman stood alone on the curb, watching until he couldn't see her anymore. But their story? It was just beginning. Chapter 9. The Paris Promise. Amara stared out of the airplane window, the clouds reflecting a soft golden light as they descended into Charles de Gaulle Airport. She couldn't believe she was here. "I still don't get how this is real," she said, glancing at Iman beside her. "You didn't have to do this." "I wanted to," Iman replied, his voice calm, steady. "You said you always dreamed of Paris. Dreams should matter." They hadn't traveled like a couple. 2 separate rooms, 2 different itineraries. But still, everything felt more alive when they were together. Amara watched him photograph a cobblestone street, the way the morning light fell across his features, and something inside her clenched. They laughed over croissant, got lost on the metro. He told her about a new investment in Italy. She showed him a video of her little brother dancing at home. There were moments, shared silences, lingering glances, when they both seemed on the verge of saying something, but neither did. That night, under the glittering Eiffel Tower, Amara turned to Iman. "This feels like the kind of memory I'll remember when I'm old." Iman looked at her, a rare softness in his eyes. "That's because it matters." But when she mentioned the university scholarship that would take her far from him, his jaw tightened just slightly. "You have to go," he said. "You were always meant to go." They didn't kiss. They didn't need to, but both walked away from Paris with hearts just a little heavier. Chapter 10. Distance Years. The next 3 years passed in a blur, through text messages, late-night calls, and moments stolen between responsibilities. Amara dove into university life. She studied relentlessly, made new friends, joined late-night study groups, and fell in love with a boy who played guitar and made her laugh. It didn't last. He couldn't handle how much she still spoke of Iman, even unknowingly. Iman, meanwhile, was climbing higher. His name began to appear in magazines. He was photographed beside models, influencers, and moguls. But his phone still lit up with Amara, King's, and hers always answered. They sent each other birthday gifts. He wired money anonymously when her mom's heater broke. She sent a framed photo of them under the cherry blossoms in spring. It sat on his office desk, always. Their friendship held, but stretched across cities, years, and the ache of not knowing what they meant to each other. Then came the graduation. She stepped onto the stage, scanning the crowd. And there he was, taller, broader, in a perfectly tailored coat, clapping like a man who had waited his entire life for this moment. After the ceremony, she ran into his arms. "You came!" "I promised, didn't I?" Chapter 11. The Job Offer. They sat in a quiet rooftop bar, Amara sipping a lemon soda, Iman nursing a glass of sparkling water. The city buzzed below them. "I want you to work for me," he said suddenly. Amara nearly choked. "What?" "You said you wanted to be independent. You're brilliant. You know how to lead. And I trust you more than anyone. I have a position, executive assistant, high level. You'll be in every room I'm in. You said you wanted to be independent. You're brilliant. You know how to lead. And I trust you more than anyone. I have a position, executive assistant, high level. You'll be in every room I'm in." Amara narrowed her eyes, heart pounding. "Are you sure this isn't charity?" "You don't need charity," he said. "You're just the only person who ever saw me before all this." Chapter 13. The Unexpected Dinner. One evening, after a marathon of meetings, Iman surprised Amara with a simple invitation. "Dinner. My place, No work talk, he said, eyes hopeful. Amara hesitated. But the promise of an evening without roles, without boss or assistant, was irresistible. At his apartment, the city lights flickered beyond the floor-to-ceiling windows. They cooked together awkwardly, laughed over burnt garlic bread, and shared stories that weren't about work. Iman spoke about his childhood, the pressure to succeed, and the loneliness behind the empire he built. Amara shared her dreams of financial independence, the weight of her family's struggles, and the hope that kept her going. The night ended with quiet comfort, the kind that comes from knowing someone sees your true self. Chapter 14, Whispered Confessions. Days passed, and the lines between work and life blurred. Amara caught Iman staring when he thought she wasn't looking. She found herself brushing a stray hair behind her ear whenever he spoke. One afternoon, after a particularly exhausting board meeting, Iman invited her to the rooftop garden, a rare sanctuary amid the city's chaos. "Thank you for believing in me," he whispered, voice raw. Amara's heart fluttered. "I believe in us." Their eyes locked, the unspoken tension hanging thick between them. But before anything could be said, the sharp ring of her phone shattered the moment. They smiled, nerves hidden behind casual words, but inside, something profound had shifted. Chapter 15, A Close Call. The office was quieter than usual. Late evening shadows stretched across the sleek desks and polished floors. Amara was the last one left, finishing reports under the soft glow of her laptop. Suddenly, a sharp noise from the parking lot drew her attention. Heart pounding, she peeked out the window. A figure was lurking near Iman's car. Without thinking, she grabbed her phone and dialed Iman. His calm voice on the other end steadied her nerves. Minutes later, Iman appeared, steady and composed, confronting the stranger. It was a harmless delivery man who had lost his way, but the tension left Amara breathless. Iman looked at her then, eyes dark with concern.